Robots Radio presents
Fresh Tomatoes, the movie podcast.
Hey, I can look at myself naked.
Are you stoned or something?
They tried stoning me, my dear. It did not work.
He likes to create his own sauce.
Well, did you sleep with a man who also slept with Mom and Grandma Catherine?
What? You slept with Dad?
Alright, which one of you sardines called this meat?
Whatever, Major Loser.
Let the party begin!
Hello, and welcome to Fresh Tomatoes, the movie podcast, the first episode of the new year.
Woo!
Way! Woo! Now,
Yeah.
I would wish you a happy new year, Simone, but I feel like it would jinx it, and because we are recording in 2020 still, and I feel like 2020 is just begging us to jinx it.
So we're just gonna say, New Year.
Yeah. You exist once the sun has turned itself completely around the planet, or the other way around, the planet has turned itself completely around the sun. You know what? Science is a myth. Just believe whatever you want. If the sun revolves around the earth, that's fine. If the earth revolves around the sun, it's all made up. That's what science is about, right, Simone?
That's fuck it.
We're in too deep. It's too late in time, right? And talking about being too late in time, what movies are we doing this week, Simone?
So we are easing into this new year like it is a hot bath. We're starting off with a movie that we both really love, and then sliding down into a very poorly rated movie. And that is going to be Mean Girls, followed by the straight-to-video sequel, Mean Girls 2.
It's very surprising that it went straight to video and not just straight to the bin, because this is such an unacceptable film. I'm so mad about it.
Did you read that it was filmed in 20 days?
It was filmed in a bed on it? That's amazing.
Oh, well, Bet on It was 9 days, I believe. So it's two Bet on It.
Okay, so 2 Bet on It's. Wow, that's really impressive. I mean, it shows. There's no question about it. It shows.
Whatever do you mean?
Oh, we will get into it in sequential time. But before we do that, I wanted to ask you, because I mean, the sinking into it like a hot bath metaphor was the exact same metaphor I would have gone for. So I'm glad that we're on the same writing chops.
Excellent.
But talk to me about your baths. Do you like a bubble bath? Do you prefer a bath bomb? What's your ideal bath setup? Talk me through the experience.
Well, it's summer now, so I'm not really bathing a lot. Like, I can't.
Of course not. You're not insane.
Yeah. But usually I like a nice bubble bath. Like, we have bath salts and like I've done a couple bath bombs before, but nothing beats the bubbles as far as I'm concerned. Nothing beats the bubbles. There've got to be candles. I can set it up so that my laptop sits on like the toilet, which is like kind of next to the bath. So I've got like a movie going, do a little face mask, have a glass of wine or a cocktail. Like, I like baths to be an event.
Yes, it's got to be an experience. Like, it's got to be a full-blown thing. I completely agree with you. Yeah. I will disagree with the bubble bath, though. I do love a bubble bath. Don't get me wrong. Who wouldn't? But I must say that ever since I've discovered the wonders of Lush and their bath bomb range,
they are exceptional.
Nothing beats it. They're I mean, expensive, but very, very good. So expensive. But there is nothing better than just like hopping in, popping in that bath bomb. It's fizzy. You wonder what colors are going to come out next. Exceptional times. It adds a little bit of a mystery to your bath, which is just so lovely.
I especially like the Lush. Lush has those bath bombs that has the little flower petals in. So when the bomb is done, you have a bath full of flower petals and you feel like a princess. Yeah,
18th century count. You just with your rose petals. It's beautiful. I also my bath, my toilet is in situ of the bath, so I put my laptop there, watch something, or put on a little bit of Michael Bublé. Just candles,
Bublé
the
bath.
whole thing. Yeah. Bublé bath. Yes. And because it is winter where I am, baths are just the thing.
Yeah,
it's
that time of year.
Yeah. Okay, well, let us, like you said, sink into this, Simone. We're obviously going to do your movie first. Oh, good bath noise. I like it. But regardless of which order we're starting it in, what are you drinking today?
I just have a nice glass of Merlot.
Lovely. Nice chilled glass after last episode where we went a little too hard.
Guys, we can only apologize, but we did warn you. I feel we were very
Yes.
clear the episode previous. We said, guys, it's the New Year's episode. We're getting fucked up. And then we did just that. So,
Yes.
like, we're not
yes.
sorry, but
Yeah, we're being more courteous than anything.
Yeah.
So you were pleasantly warned, and that's the end of that. Although I will say, I hate getting blackout drunk. Like, I will
Yeah.
never do that again because I don't remember recording much of that. I'm very excited to listen back to the episode because it will be brand new for me.
as the one editing the episode, it's very funny.
I am so excited to hear sloppy drunk us. We're the best.
I mean,
when we're
listen
sloppy
to
drunk.
the mini-sode that's come out. It's
Yes. It's something. I'm sure it is. I'm excited to listen to it. Bunch of drunk bitches that we are.
So dumb, so drunk.
So drunk. Well, this week we still had a bottle of open prosecco from Christmas because
Oh.
we're recording this just after Christmas.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd be, you know what? In the new year, I'm gonna be a fancy bitch. We're gonna drink prosecco. We're gonna, dine with the fanciest and richest people of England. We're gonna go on hunts for big tigers and rubies, like all the rich folk apparently do. Of course, they're paying because I'm dirt poor.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I do love a good prosecco.
Mm.
Oh,
It's ever so slightly more palatable than champagne, I
Mhm.
feel.
I mean, look,
Yeah.
I love a champagne as well. Don't get me wrong. Anything
Mhm.
bubbly. Look at me. I'm the whitest, blondest white girl you know. Like,
It's all about the bubbles for you. All right. Well, tell me about Mean Girls. Talk me through the movie that we watch at
mean-
least once every year.
obviously, Mean Girls needs no introduction, but I will walk everybody through the plot very briefly.
Cool.
So, Katie Heron, played by Lindsay Lohan, is a transfer student. She was homeschooled. She spent most of her life growing up in Africa, where her parents were doing research, until her mother was offered tenure. So they moved back to America, and now she has to attend regular school as a junior in high school. Her first day does not go that well. High school is scary. She likens it to being in the jungle, and she doesn't understand any of it. Luckily, she meets Janice Ian, played by Lizzie Kaplan, and her friend Damien, played by Daniel Franzesi.
Yeah.
That seems right. Yeah. The two of them guide Katie and show her around the school, explain to her who she should talk to, who she shouldn't talk to, what the kind of rules are, and they kind of become friends. It's at this point that Katie is introduced to the concept of the plastics. The plastics are the most popular girls in school. There is Gretchen Wieners, played by Lacey Chabert, Karen Smith, played by Amanda Siegfried, and they are led by Regina George, played by Rachel McAdams. The plastics rule the school, and Janice really tries to convince Katie that they're super evil. However, the plastics, because Katie's so pretty, kind of want her to hang out with them. So Janice is like, no, you totally have to do it, and then you can report back on all the dumb stuff they say. Katie's kind of on the fence with this because she thinks it's a little mean, right up until Regina steals the man that Katie has a crush on, Aaron Samuels, played by Jonathan Bennett.
Ooh.
Then she's all in on destroying Regina George. They do all kinds of stuff to sabotage her life, such as giving her protein bars that make her gain weight like crazy, helping Aaron see that Regina is cheating on him, and breaking up the friendships between the plastics. It reaches a point where Katie has basically completely destroyed Regina's life, and now she's the new queen bee. She's no longer pretending to be plastic anymore. She is. This all comes to a head one night when she blows off her parents, who have tickets to see Ladysmith Black Mambazo, and she blows off Janice, who has an art show, to throw a little party so that she can try and hit on Aaron finally. It all goes wrong. Aaron tells her he doesn't like her because she's just like Regina. Janice is like, hey, actually, yeah, you are a total bitch. And her parents later on are like, what the fuck happened? In an attempt to get Katie back, Regina posts this burn book that they have where they say mean things all around the school, all over the school. It causes a huge fight. Katie, Gretchen, and Karen get blamed for it because Regina pasted her own photo in the burn book. It's like a whole thing. And it's at this point that Katie realizes that she needs to figure her life out. And she does. She starts making amends. She apologizes to everybody. She tries to be a better person. She joins the mathletes. And yeah, by the end, everybody's kind of friends again. She's made up for it. Regina gets hit by a bus and then recovers, so she's like calmed down quite a lot, and everything reaches a new balance. The end.
Lovely, so lovely. What's your cliffhanger for this one? Because
This
there are
is tough.
so many to choose
This
from.
is real tough
Yeah.
because I mean it's an insanely quotable movie.
Oh, damn straight. Yeah.
But I had to go with this one, which is when they're doing the trust falls, and the one girl is like, "I wish we could bake a cake of rainbows and smiles, and we'd all
yes.
eat and be happy." I don't know why, but it's just I just have a lot of feelings. It just
Feelings.
gets me every time.
It's one of the best movies because it is so quotable.
Oh my god.
It is so beautiful from start to finish because of just the intricacy of the language. And I guess that's Tina Fey in a nutshell. I mean, you know, she has always been such a great writer, and she does these one-liners which are just perfect. You can see that through 30 Rock just the whole way through.
Yeah.
And we get it in a hour and 45-minute movie. It's the best.
The casting is so superb too, like especially Janice and Damien are just so
Yes.
quick, and their delivery is so perfect. I think Lizzie Kaplan is like one of the great underrated actresses of our time. Like she can do the
100%.
drama, she can do the comedy. She's so good. I love her.
She's brilliant, and as a sort of tough talking, mean human being, she's great. Yeah, like there is nothing to complain about with this movie. I mean, it's all, even like the evil pranks and stuff are like not so mean that you're just like, oh well, this is a bit harsh. Like it is all just like it encapsulates girl drama in its perfectness.
I think it
It's
really
great.
it shows, you know, like how high school is shit, not because of like any overt things happening to you, but because of all like the sneaky stuff. Like someone says one kind of passive aggressive thing to you, and it just like ruins your whole fucking day. And then like you don't know why, but you're trying to impress people that you fucking hate. And you know, just like all the tiny little nitpicky backstabby things, and like the shifting social dynamics that can happen like
Oh my
in
God.
one single day at high
Seconds.
school.
Good Lord.
I think it captured all of that really well. It didn't have to be crazy and overt. I mean, honestly, maybe the meanest thing was giving Regina those protein bars so she gained a bunch of weight.
Yeah, exactly. Which is, I mean, it is horrible. It's really, really cruel. But yeah, it's not in the grander scheme of things. And I mean, we'll talk about it in Mean Girls too. It's really, you know, not that bad.
It's also because it's not like Regina. It's not like Regina was like starving herself otherwise. Like the whole joke throughout is that she doesn't understand diets at all. When she's like, is butter a carb? And she's like on the phone and she's just like chowing donuts and eating like a whole baguette. Like
like she's insane. And I think in a weird way, that's kind of really nice to see, because obviously she's got this like absolutely spectacular body. Like she keeps it tight. She's looking really fit, but she eats whatever she wants. And it's like that kind of weird body positivity, but also that kind of like, oh, because I'm in high school, I have to stick to diets. I have to be obsessed. Cleanses.
When you have that like teenage metabolism and you're just like you're hungry all the time.
I mean, we're still hungry all the time, but our bodies will just not accept it. We look at a donut the wrong way, and you put on weight.
Yeah, I'm still thinking about Christmas dinner and
how that's living on you.
Fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. You went to gym yesterday. I went to gym today. We're living our best lives. We're in control. Yeah. So at your school, I know you moved schools a little bit, but like were there mean girls at your school? Were you one of the mean girls? Were you a plastic?
I certainly hope not. So yeah, I did high school in two different schools. One was a very small international school. So I mean, I'm sure I wasn't a nice person all of the time. I'm sure I probably did some I think everybody like in high school does something a little shitty or like isn't the nicest version of themselves.
No, definitely
but
not.
I like to think that I was mostly on par or okay with compared to my other classmates. It was mostly boys. Boys are really mean. Which I guess the movie didn't really have to go into or anything, but yeah, boys can be like fucking assholes. They have all these hormones and emotions and they don't know what to do with them, and so they're just really mean. And I know
really
like
aggressive and dumb.
Yeah, girls are the same, but yeah, for me the problem was mostly boys. And then I went to an all-girls school that was really big. And there was also a lot of
Yeah.
drama there, I guess. But by that point,
Mhm.
I was tired. I was a very jaded high schooler by then.
I could just see you like with cigarettes, just smoking during
Yeah.
break time.
So I
Should be
was just
like,
like,
I'm done with all this shit.
I'm not doing all of this.
It does. By the end of it, when you get to sort of your final years in high school, you're just
Yeah.
like, I'm so tired. I hate every single person here. I hate
Just
all
wanna
of you, even the people I
graduate.
like.
Yeah.
I hate you. I cannot wait to go to university
Yeah.
where only 3 of you will be there, but it doesn't matter because I will get lost in the sea of thousands of other people. Yes.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, no, our school was very cliquey, but kind of like you said, those social dynamics change so quickly that you couldn't really be super cliquey. Like you spoke to everyone was friends, whatever, but you did have your cliques that you would hang out with. But like, yeah, like you said, I would say the boys were probably meaner than the girls because I think boys tend to not only pick on boys, but like pick on girls too.
Yeah.
Where girls are quite discriminate in that, like good type of discrimination, I guess, in the fact that they only pick on girls. Because I think if a teenage girl picked on a teenage boy, it would destroy him. Because
I'm
their
sure it
self-esteem
does.
would,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. Like any interaction with a teenage girl when you're a teenage boy is devastating. Like that's just a fact.
I honestly wouldn't. I wouldn't wish being a teenage boy or girl, honestly, on everyone.
No.
And if any teenagers are listening to this now, guys, I know they say it all the time, but it does get better. It really does. Like your hormones calm down so much and stuff like this matters to you so much less. Everything stings less. You're like less angry all the time.
It's incredible. It's like viewing life on oversaturation.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
everything is just so oversaturated, and then it calms, and like you get this really nice level sort of casting eventually. And it does, like, there's two sharp ass guys. Like you're not gonna go through puberty forever. I think the true heroes are high school teachers.
Yes.
Good Lord, to be like, all right, this is what I'm going to devote my life to, living in this space of anger and depression
More
and
power to you,
anxiety.
teachers. My God. We do not pay you enough. We'll never be able to.
No, never enough. You don't deserve the shit that you get. And God bless you. I think no amount of torture could ever get you through, like be enough from what you've experienced already in your day-to-day lives, and to come back to that every single year. God, good Lord.
I still have like nightmares about having to go back to high school.
Oh, Simone, that's so lovely.
Is it?
It's weird, and that's why it's kind of lovely, because I mean you're 27, like that shouldn't be.
I had a dream that, like, I don't know, there was some glitch and my math marks no longer counted, so I had to go redo matric math, and obviously the only way to do that would be for me to reattend high school.
Oh no.
Like, it's so dumb, because also realistically, like, I've been through university now, like no one would care.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen. Like no one's gonna be like, well, you can't get a job anymore. We don't have your matric math
paper too.
That is a terrifying dream. I will admit that is a true nightmare.
Yeah. But back to Mean Girls.
Back to Mean Girls. Yes. I think as well, the Principal Duval, who does actually show up in Mean Girls too, is such an underrated character.
He's
in this
so
as
funny.
Well. He's great when he like is in the middle of the fight where the girls like break out, and he's just like, I did not leave the inner city for this, and smashes the baseball bat against the fire alarm. One of the best lines ever.
He tries so hard when he's like, okay, you guys are having some lady problems, so we're gonna solve your lady problems. And obviously immediately the first girl is like, they think I'm not a virgin because I use extra big tampons, but I can't help it if I have a heavy flow and a wide set vagina.
That is a lot for any teacher to take on, but for a male teacher during that time as well.
Yeah, like,
goodness me.
And you know what? Good on him for having the grace to be like, you know what? No, I'm not. I can't.
Oh, so good. Such a good. So yeah, it's just everything about this is intricately planned, and it just
Yeah.
works so well, so well. Even like the sub thing with her being from Africa and them turning into like jungle
Yeah, that was
creatures
really
every now and
fun.
again. It's just a really nice break from the whole thing within the film, and it's just pretty. It's just so much fun.
So apparently it was actually supposed to be the other way around initially, and Lindsay
Oh?
Lohan was going to play Regina George, and Rachel McAdams was going to play Katie. And then they like swapped last minute, and it just worked. And I do think it was
Yeah.
great. Like, I love Rachel McAdams. I do think she would have been a great Katie, but like, she was such a good Regina.
Yeah, she was. I think definitely this is the best way to have done it. I think just with sort of, I think, you know, Rachel McAdams has a lot more sharp features while Lindsay Lohan has a lot softer features. And I think that will play to the parts. I mean, both are intrinsically beautiful. Both of them could do both roles, but it's just the way their features are.
I think Rachel McAdams also just gives off that vibe. Like, I mean, to this day, I desperately want to be friends with Rachel McAdams.
Oh yeah, without
and
question.
like, I feel like also if I met her in real life, I'd be like, I will put up with a high level of meanness to be friends with you, I think.
Yeah, I would do anything she wanted without question. If she wanted me to go murder a guy, I probably would.
Yeah,
it's
honestly.
unfortunate, but it's the way the world works. So yeah. What were your favorite parts of this movie? I know we both love this movie so very much. I mean, you message me almost pretty much every year on October 3rd saying, and today he asked me what date it was. On October 3rd, he asked me what day it was. It's October 3rd.
And I'll never stop.
And that's why we're friends. That's why we're best friends. And I appreciate that. Yeah. So what is your best part?
Oh, man. You know what? The Jingle Bell Rock scene is always a classic. It's so good. It's because it's got a bit of everything, right? Like, it's these girls, they start off doing the dance. It is highly, when they do the thigh slap.
Good Lord. Yeah.
Katie's parents are both like, oh my God. and then like it goes so wrong. Gretchen kicks the radio into Jason's face. And Katie saves the day. In fact, that whole talent show is just great. You've got Kevin G with his ridiculous rap.
Oh, you suck at MCs. I got nothing on me.
Damien singing I Am Beautiful. It's just
so good.
It's all so good. I love every single thing Tina Fey says and her role as Miss Norbury in this movie. Like, she's so funny, and she's just going through a divorce, and she's tired, and she's just trying to help this student, and she's like so disappointed in Katie later on.
Yeah. It's heartbreaking, but yeah, she tries her best. And you know what? I would have loved Tina Fey to be my teacher in high school. I would have been on Mathlete so fast. I don't care if it's social suicide.
What's your favorite bit?
It's gotta be the first Halloween party. Just the whole thing is great.
Yeah.
Like the fact that she rocks up in the scary zombie bride ex-wife costume. The fact that like Amanda Seyfried's character is like, you know who's looking fine tonight, and she's like, oh, that's your second cousin. Well, that's fine because you get your first cousin and then you get your second cousin, and that shit is fucking funny. And then at the end, when that dude falls off into the fountain, when Katie comes out, and the other guy is like, dude, your costume is scary. Hit. Great line. Perfect scene. Love all of it.
And just Regina being like so evil properly for the first time. Because I feel like as an audience member too, you're like, okay, like Janice is a little dramatic. Regina's not that bad. She seems, you know, just popular. And then she's like so mean.
Yeah.
And I feel like Rachel McAdams plays it really well, because it also, you know, when Erin's like, oh yeah, Katie's really cool, she's in my math class, you can see like that little moment of insecurity that Regina has, where she's just like, well, you better watch out because she's got a big crush on you.
Yeah. It's good to see, because it makes them like three-dimensional. It makes them good characters with, you know, I wouldn't say character growth, because it's sort of, I think that's maybe the only thing that I don't like about this movie, is it's sort of like, oh, she got hit by a bus and then everything sort of
they also do say that she works out that she's got a lot of rage, and then she just joins the jock girls who aren't afraid of her. And like, honestly, sometimes you just have to learn how to manage your feelings.
Yeah, that's true. And you know, condition them towards sports. It works sometimes. Yeah. What is your least favorite bit of this film? If there is one. I know. You weren't ready for that.
No, I wasn't. What blasphemy? Oh, what I thought was I thought it was kind of interesting, and then they don't really address it again, is that like Janice and Damien are still quite manipulative of Katie. Like they really do take advantage of like her naivety and her just like genuinely wanting to have friends. At the beginning where she's like, "Oh, won't we get in trouble for skipping health class?" And they're like, "Oh, why would we get you in trouble? We're your friends."
We're your friends. Yeah. That's gaslighting, right? Like that is textbook gaslighting.
I know, it's very manipulative. And then later on, Katie does make a valid point. She's like, "Well, none of this wouldn't have happened if you hadn't decided to use me for like your weird 8th grade revenge." But Janice doesn't really seem to reflect on that at any point in the movie. Like afterwards, she doesn't apologize to Katie. She's not like, "Hey, actually, it was really messed up of me to do that," or anything. She's just like, "Well, you were a jerk and I forgive you." So
the end. Everything's fine. Yeah. Yeah. No, you actually make a really, really good point for that. It would have been nice to see her sort of come back to and be remorseful over that behavior, especially with the fact at the end that everyone is friends again.
Yeah.
Like would have just really been a nice bow. Yeah. Yeah. For me, I just don't like the fact that Regina George got hit by a bus. It just like everything else in the movie is really realistic and really good. But then to hit someone with a bus, that's a bit weird. And for her not to die, yeah, that's
to be fair, at least they do set up the bus thing right. Like they show the buses zooming past like quite a lot throughout the movie. So it is in your mind. It's not like this is the first time a school bus has sped past or anything. But I don't know. I feel pretty ambivalent about that, to be honest.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I feel like, you have bigger problems. I mean, if you're Principal Duvall and you see that your bus driver is driving really fast around campus, like get that shit sorted. It's not that hard. And for a woman to get hit by a bus, and then in the next scene we see when everything's sorted out, the bus almost hitting the new plastics. It's like, fire that bus driver.
Get a speed bump put in. Jesus.
Like, well, I mean, look, this is not a shit on the American school system, but also school shootings. But yeah, no, never mind. So Simone, what is your scene that could have saved it? Would it be the whole Janice thing?
Yeah. I'm gonna leave that as my scene. Do you have a scene that could have saved it?
Speed bump. I just want one scene of them putting in the speed bump, and we're gold.
And obviously, I think it goes without saying that we would both watch this movie again
today. Every day for the rest of my life. I'm so excited for my children. What age do you think you should show this to kids?
I think I watched it when it came out. I must have been about 10, 11 years old.
Right. I think that's a fair age.
Yeah.
I think that's a mature enough age.
It's pretty PG. Like, I think maybe the worst is like Rachel McAdams getting a little raunchy with the one boyfriend, but like clothes are mostly
and her
on.
mom coming in being like, "Do you want any condoms?" I love you guys so much.
I love you. Also, Amy Poehler was so great.
So good. So great. And such an underutilized character as well. I don't know how they would have done more with her, but it's just, yeah. I kind of agree with you. I think 10, 11 is fine for a first watching. And I think, as you watch it, as you grow up, it just gets better and better. Because you understand more about like high school and then post high school is the best time to watch it. Because you can just look back and be like, it's so true, but so dumb. All of this doesn't matter. None of this matters.
None of it matters. Except at the time, it really
it's
fucking
everything.
matters.
It's everything. Everything. Yeah. Right. Shall we do a rage-filled film that makes no sense and is just a thing?
Okay, get through the synopsis because we've got a lot to go through.
We really do. I mean, this synopsis doesn't really cover everything that happens, but I tried my best.
Yeah, it was a very needlessly complicated movie.
All right, here we go. We return to North Shore High for more Mean Girl shenanigans. This time, we follow Jo Mitchell, played by Megan Martin. Throughout her high school career, she has moved around an awful lot. The reason being that her father is an engine mechanic for NASCAR, and as such, has to follow the circuit around America, making sure that the cars are all right. But this is Jo's final year, so she's going to be staying at North Shore so she can graduate and attend Carnegie Mellon University, the alma mater of her mother, who unfortunately died when Jo was just 1. Because it was just Joe and her dad, she has become this total tomboy who prefers engines over dresses and woodworking over home ec.
She's
When
not
she
like
arrives
other
at North
girls,
Shore,
you guys.
she's not like other girls. She just understands boys. It's not her fault. Ugh. When she arrives at North Shore, she has to quickly overcome these feminine stereotypes and show all the boys and men that she can do whatever they can do, and in some cases, even better. During that first day at school, she meets Abby, played by Jennifer Stone. She's this quiet, nerdy girl who gets constantly picked on by the Plastics. Who are the Plastics, I hear you say? Well, if you remember from the first movie, the Plastics are these super shiny, popular girls who are also really mean to everyone else. They basically run the school. Also, the main Plastic, whose name is Mandy Weatherly, played by Maria Walsh, is super mean to Abby because Abby is equally, if not more rich than Mandy. And every time that Mandy has a party or does anything ever, Abby stages her up and just completely blows her out the window. So, I mean, not justified, but I can kind of see why Mandy is a little bit mad.
We'll get into it.
We'll get into it. But the only difference is that unlike the original Plastics, these girls are actually psychopaths. So, as I said, Mandy Weatherly is the new leader of the Plastics. She's a calculating bitch who's genuinely terrifying. You then have her two underlings, Hope, played by Nicole Gale Anderson, and Chastity, played by Claire Holt. Chastity is the dumb sex positive one, and Hope is the pretty germophobic one. You know, that old common trope within movies.
The mean germophobic girl. And you know
so
what? After 2020, she's fucking right, isn't she?
She's on it. She's on the fucking money, washing her hands all the time, wearing a mask. When she wore the mask. Okay, we'll get into it. We'll get into it. So when they see that Joe is making friends with Abby, Mandy tries to intervene, telling Joe not to hang out with her. However, Joe doesn't give a crap about what Mandy thinks and basically tells her to suck it. This essentially causes a revolution in the school where everyone starts to question the legitimacy of Mandy's authority. Obviously, Mandy doesn't like this and spends her time trying to sabotage Joe and her life in revenge. Meanwhile, Joe strikes a secret deal with Abby's father. See, Abby has no friends, so Abby's dad says he'll pay Joe's university fees if she pretends to be Abby's friend. Unfortunately, without that money, Joe wouldn't be able to achieve her dream of going to Carnegie Mellon, so she agrees. As Joe's popularity increases, she becomes a bit of a mean girl too, and her new friends form a clique very similar to that of the Plastics. Mandy and Joe start an all-out war against each other, all the while Abby is being more and more excluded from Joe's group. All of this culminates in the reveal that Abby's dad was paying Joe to be her friend. On top of this, Mandy has set it up to look like Joe broke into the school and stole all the money for the homecoming dance. Joe loses her friendship with Abby and is also expelled. The principal also says that he's going to have to contact Carnegie Mellon to tell them that she's been expelled, which might cost her her seat at the school. When things look like they're going the worst, Joe's super hot ex-boyfriend, Tyler, played by Diego Boneta, comes through. He checks the neighbor's security camera and sees that it was actually Mandy who stole the money and planted it in Joe's garage. Joe, with a taste of retribution, challenges Mandy and her crew to a game of American football to settle this once and for all. Best. As you can imagine, Joe and her friends win the football game and reveal Mandy for the fraud that she is. Joe gets everything she ever wanted, including some new friends along the way. The end.
What's your cliffhanger?
It has to be this one, which is the first meeting between Joe and Mandy. And the reason I'm choosing this one is because it's essentially the same thing that Draco Malfoy and Harry Potter do to each other, but it's just done so much worse. So much worse. You'll find that some wizarding families are better than others. And Harry's just like, I can tell for myself. Thank you. I mean, I watched it like literally 4 days ago, but yeah, thank you. So it's essentially the same thing because Mandy just comes up and is like, you'll find that you should hang out with some people more than others. And Joe's just like, I think I can choose for myself. Thanks.
Yeah.
And, but what I really love about the scene is the fact that Mandy can't act. Mandy cannot act.
That actress is such a beautiful girl. Like I remember the whole time I was watching the movie, I was like, God, she is so stunning. And thank goodness she is so disarmingly beautiful because she does not nail this performance.
Anything. No, it's all very terrible.
But to be fair to her, she did not have a great script to work with.
No, I will give you that. Maybe she just gave up. She read the script after she got the part and she was just like, I am going to have to phone this one in because
Yeah.
I can't do anything with this. And I think that's fair because the script, Simone, the script.
Where do we begin? I mean, okay, the first thing that came to my mind was, Abby is bullied because she's rich, which is hardly relatable.
You know, that classic bullying trope that we all love so much, just being picked on because you're rich. Oh, I
Ugh.
hate it. The poor rich
Have you ever
people.
been too rich?
I mean, I wouldn't want to be because then you get bullied, apparently.
Mm-hmm. Just very, Abby is just a very unbelievable character. And I'm not saying that, you can grow up very wealthy and end up not spoiled. Like, her parents seem to genuinely love her and support her.
Yeah.
But she does not act like a rich kid.
No, not even a little bit.
Not even a tiny, tiny bit. Throughout the whole thing, she's like, barely applied to colleges. She's like, oh, I don't know what I'm gonna do. She has like a whole art room to herself. And she's like, oh, I guess I should apply for college. Like, nah, honey. No. And then the way she dresses is not really how a rich person would dress. Like, even if you're artsy and you don't care about clothes, there are a lot of class signifiers or wealth signifiers. And I mean, to be fair, I think that's the fault of the wardrobe department. I think that they didn't have the creativity to be like, okay, what does someone who doesn't really care what they look like or who is very artsy, but still, is pretty wealthy and whose family would actually expect a certain level of care for their appearance from them?
Yeah.
Like, what does that look like? They didn't think that through. I don't want to hate on the way anyone dresses, but I just found this character wildly unbelievable. Like, from the wardrobe to the way she acts. Like, are you telling me she's been richer than Mandy? She's consistently had better things than Mandy, and she's still such a pushover. She has endless resources at her disposal.
It makes no sense. It genuinely, during that montage where we saw Abby upstage Mandy at every turn, it was completely unbelievable that Abby wouldn't even have one friend unless she was completely sort of this hermit who could not speak to anyone, and which she wasn't. She was actually a very nice human being.
Yeah.
And it was just impossible to think that, even without the whole rich people getting bullied thing, again, not a thing unless everyone in that school is rich, and that's very clearly not the case.
Clearly.
And I know it's a bit of a trope now, but it's usually the poor kids who are getting bullied by all the rich kids together. And they were just like, nah, let's just let's have this feud. But it wasn't even a feud. You couldn't call it a feud because Abby did shit all back to Mandy. So there was just, it was completely unbelievable, like you said. And it kind of spoiled the movie just on that premise alone.
Yeah, it's a very poorly constructed character, and she's quite a hinge to several of the plot points.
Exactly.
Should we talk about the apparent lack of police presence in this neighborhood?
Please, can we? Because it upset me greatly that many crimes were committed by these women.
Oh my God.
Nothing happened.
It's
till some money got stolen.
I mean, because the whole point of obviously the whole point of the first Mean Girls was nobody's doing anything illegal. Nobody's doing anything overt. The whole point is that it's sneaky and it just destroys you. And in this, they commit several
heinous
felonies.
Crimes. Yes, that scene where the kids covering Abby's car in paintball pellets. I was just like, that's criminal damage. First of all, you can see the motherfucker
do it. Yeah.
Yes. Why are you just oh, everything's so very sad for me?
And
I'd be like,
even the dad,
beep,
even when the dad finds out, oh, the kids are in the car, he's just like, oh God, they're so mean. If it were my dad, if it were anyone's dad, I'd be like, well, I'm calling the cops on these fuckers. That car is expensive.
Yes,
it's
it was a
damage to property.
Porsche. It's a Porsche. What kind of school is this that they're just like, yeah, let's fucking fire paintballs at a Porsche? I was outraged.
I heard that my child fired paintballs at a Porsche. They would be...
They wouldn't be is there there's not a word for something that is worse than grounding, but it would be that
I would
thing.
find it.
Yeah, that would be the punishment without question. That is unacceptable behavior no matter what. And then we move on and we put sugar and coffee in an engine. Again, completely destroying it.
Yeah, destroying property. And that was the crazy thing to me, because Joe then goes and like confronts Mandy. She's like, I can't believe you did that to my dad's car. And I thought Mandy would be like, oh, I don't know what you mean or something. But she's like, oh, no, it was really fun. And Joe's like, oh, you don't mess with my family, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, girl, so call the police.
Call the cops.
You have a whole coffee shop that just witnessed her saying she did it. Like
Insane.
Like, she's like, oh, I'm going to get my revenge. And I'm like, you know what revenge would be? Calling the cops. Getting her arrested. Because it's not like mean girl stuff anymore. It is illegal activity.
Yeah, and Mandy is not remorseful at all, and it's very clear that she does everything that she does intentionally, and to like cause physical harm to other people. Like, how when Joe saw the packets, why wasn't she straight up to her dad, being like, "I know who did this.
I know what happened.
We will be able to prove it. Look at these sugar packets. Someone put sugar in the engine. We'll get them. She's going to jail. We'll get her parents to pay for the new engine. No problems.
Don't touch anything. This is a crime scene now. Like, let's get the cops in. Let's get some prints. Like." Come on.
Yeah, and then we have a really nice movie where this psychopath is just left the school and everyone can just live harmoniously. Yeah, and I mean, in retaliation, what's the worst thing that Joe really does? It's just like attack her friends a little bit and like reveal some shitty stuff. Like, Joe doesn't commit any crimes.
I mean, even so Mandy tries to sabotage Abby's pizza party. Like, she has a big party at her house, and they order a bunch of pizzas. So they decide to put Ipecac on the pizzas. That's actually really dangerous. Like, people die from Ipecac consumption. Like,
oh really?
Yeah, it's
I did not know
it
that.
basically causes like really bad diarrhea and vomiting. So sometimes people use it like in very small concentrations, like for various
when they're
things.
like all bunged
But
up.
like,
yeah,
if you get a high enough amount or it affects you particularly badly, like it can cause really severe dehydration.
Wow.
And like you can actually die from Ipecac consumption. So they like genuinely could have killed someone.
That's crazy. That, I mean, even in itself, it's poisoning. Like they're poisoning these people.
Yeah, exactly. Tampering with people's food, also illegal.
Yeah, it's incredible what these people get up to in this very weird
And again,
movie.
it completely defeats the whole point of Mean Girls at the end of the day. Like, the whole, it's about this sneaky warfare. It's about the psychological parts of it. It's about like, you know, being a teenager and being so full of rage and hormones that like you don't know what the fuck you're doing. And sometimes you do shitty things. Sometimes you're a mean girl. Sometimes you're bullied. Like you just have to work through that. And it doesn't really cover any of that. They just like made this fucking psychopath character and these two like pretty useless cronies. And then, oh God, do you want to talk about Joe?
So Joe, I wanted to love Joe. I really wanted to love Joe. I did, especially with like when she comes into the workshop and she's just like, oh, I'm here and the teacher's all like sexist. And I was like, yeah, okay, cool. That's fine. I'm happy that you're doing this. I mean, it's on the nose as fuck.
Stand up for yourself.
I'm happy that this is happening. Even when Tyler, when Tyler's like, you can decorate it. I was like, cool. So you're going to punch this guy in the throat and never like him, but you end up with him. You date him.
You know what? But maybe that was a teachable moment for Tyler, where Tyler was like, oh, hey, women are people too.
I mean, you're being the less jaded one here, but for me, that's like an intolerable offense. Like that happens if I was Joe and he had said that to me, cool, I do not see you as a viable sexual partner now. Like, we're done now.
No, totally.
Yeah. How do you feel about Joe?
I mean, it got old real quickly, right? Like, I have nothing against like a character being a tomboy. And even to an extent, I actually really appreciated the idea that, like, as opposed to Katie, who came into the school like totally innocent of the whole American school system, instead it was this character who was really jaded and kind of saw herself as above it all. You know, I think that was like an interesting dynamic to approach with.
Yeah.
I was very much not interested in her consistently pointing out how she's not like the other girls. She's not about that drama, you know, like she's just a
Yeah.
cool. They kept calling her a biker chick. Like she drives a Vespa, you
She
guys.
Vespa. What kind of biker chick drives a Vespa? Is it just
They
because
couldn't
she
have
wears a
even
lot of
given her
leather?
a cute little motorbike. Like
Vespa. Vespa.
oh
I think
God.
if anyone came to you and they were like, I'm a biker, and they came out with a fucking Vespa,
Bless.
I get like, that's it. That's like, you will never take them seriously ever again as a
Man.
human being. No, unacceptable. I mean, I appreciated that they dressed her in a lot of leather to try and make her seem more like a tomboy. Even her dresses, when she turned more into a plastic, being made out of leather, I was just like, 10 points for effort.
The
10
wardrobe
points for effort.
department for this has never met a teenage girl in their life.
No.
They were like, oh,
how many
Abby doesn't
fishnet
care what she
gloves?
looks like, so they dressed her like a mom. And then like they're like, oh, these girls aren't like the plastics, but they're like kind of like the plastics. So they dress them basically like the teenagers in The Descendants.
I love that. I thought it was great. The amount of fishnet gloves
Oh,
that
God.
were like, the budget for fishnet gloves in this movie was exceptional.
And then they had those colored bits of hair,
Yes.
those dyed bits of like undercoat hair. It
Mhm.
was hideous.
Oh, it was so on point. I mean, I was saying this to you before we recorded, but movies like this, they're not fun bad movies, and they're not like those, you know, mega shark versus giant octopus, which we love because they are terrible. These movies are those kind of movies that just physically aggravate you, that just get into your soul and agitate you because like the pacing's bad, the script's bad, the acting's bad, the wardrobe's bad, the story makes no sense, and it's actually completely devoid of everything from the first movie.
Yeah.
Even in a weird comparison to American Psycho 2, American Psycho 2 was slightly more on point than Mean Girls 2 to the original kind of source material. In respect of the fact that like at least they acknowledged what the first one was kind of about. They try to make it more fun and zany and shit, but they at least like they were aware of the first one. In this one, they were just like, here's a name that did very well, and we're just gonna plow it for whatever we can.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was clearly just like such a shameless cash grab. And it's a real shame because I think a lot of fans of the original Mean Girls probably watched this with like good intentions. Like, no one expected it to be better than the first Mean Girls, right? But you expected like something similar. And it was just such a trap. Like, you watch this and you're waiting for it to get witty or funny or insightful. Or anything like that. And it's just basically a standard high school movie.
Yeah, but worse than any other high school movie we've seen. So I'm going to put you on the spot here a little bit. And I'm going to say to you, we're rewriting Mean Girls 2. What is the basic plot? Like, what would you have liked to see from a Mean Girls 2 if you had written it?
God. Okay. Oh, like just starting fresh, like not even working with this.
That Netflix has just come to you. Sorry, no, Netflix would never do this. Amazon Prime comes to you and they go, right, we're doing a Mean Girls.
Really good stuff. I don't know why you hate it so much.
Because more often than not, they do misses instead of swings. But
I mean, so does Netflix, my guy.
Yeah, but we know that, but they don't charge us individually for movies, Simone. It's all included in the subscription. We're going down a rabbit hole. This is where I'm trying to avoid.
Sorry. Okay.
Amazon comes to you, Jeff the Bezos. He comes to you in his solid gold jet, and he says, "Hey, Simone, I will pay you an obscene amount of money to make Mean Girls 2 from scratch. Hire as many writers as you want. Go nuts."
Oh boy. Okay, so this is really on the spot. Okay, so I guess the whole thing of the last movie was just figuring out that like putting people down doesn't actually improve your life at all. And the best that we can all do is just like work on ourselves and try to be the best versions of ourselves, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, this doesn't even have to be limited to high school, right? Like we can do Katie is starting college.
Oh, yeah.
College is a whole
absolutely.
different ball game. You know, no one actually gives a shit who you are. There are no popular kids, really.
Yeah, there's like one or two really hot people that everyone knows in college.
Yeah. I mean, there could be something around like figuring out that your worth isn't really defined by like your grades or the society's that you join, and that, like, you know, expecting kids to pick their life path at the age of 18 is insane.
Yeah. Real dumb.
Um,
Real dumb.
so yeah, maybe they like all kind of go to similar colleges. Obviously, her and Aaron break up. Like that was never gonna last.
Mhm.
He's so dumb. She's so much smarter than him.
Yeah.
She's like there. She's like studying math, and then she realizes she just doesn't love math anymore, um, or something. And she meets this really cute IT guy, and her friends are like, oh,
great.
he's kind of lame, and she's like, yeah, a little bit. And I don't know, like maybe there's this whole thing where it's like a bit of coming of age, and like, you know, maybe one of them drops out of school to like travel
Mhm.
for a little bit, or
Oh,
like join a
nice.
vocational school instead. Like maybe just everybody figuring out that their paths don't all have to look one specific way, or that
Similar.
it's okay to
Yeah.
realize that like what you thought you liked in high school, which is a very isolated environment, like I don't know, I
Mhm.
guess that comes off like an after school special a little bit though, and there's not a lot of mean girl elements involved.
I feel like, you know, for Mean Girls 2, it's a pretty solid thing because you don't want to copy immediately the first one, but you
No.
just want to, yeah, it's progression and it's growth, and it's you can put some Mean Girl stuff in there. I'm sure there'll be,
Like I
you know,
kind of would want it
cheerleaders
to
or
sort of
something.
join in with like Pitch Perfect and what they learned there, you know?
Mm. Okay, yeah, I like that. I would watch that. I think
Yeah.
that's immediately better than
Yeah.
what we got.
Yeah. And what about you? Do you have any thoughts or dreams or hopes for Mean Girls 2?
So it's always been a case that I just wanted this to be a progeny movie. So Lindsay Lohan has grown up. Her and Aaron have somehow miraculously gotten married. They've banged out a couple
Yeah.
kids, and now the oldest kid, the oldest girl, is going to high school. And guess what? She turns into the queen bee, and it's Lindsay Lohan's job to teach her that it's not about
Ah.
being mean, it's about being kind to everyone, and yada yada yada. And it's
And she's like
basically
kind of like
just
wine mom friends with the other moms, and they're all
Mhm.
like, so it's kind of like Bad Moms meets Mean Girls.
Yeah, exactly. Meets Omen, because the child is like evil and she's got to stop the child. And it's yeah, I'm about that. I think that would work too. Like that's always been my dream for Mean Girls too, is Lindsay as a mom.
Okay. Yeah, I could see it. Let's bring back hashtag bring back Lindsay.
Mean Girls 2.
And I would love to see Rachel McAdams also reprise her role. She'd be like the one on the
Like her mom.
PTA.
Oh, she would be incessant. She'd be like, I see that you haven't signed up, Caddy, for delivering potato salad to this week's swap meet. So I'm going to need you to do that. Otherwise, we're going to be potato saladless.
I see my child didn't make it into advanced placement.
It'll be really good. Yeah. I'm about that. Yeah.
And she was
good.
like the
Okay, we'll
nicest
write
kid in the world.
It's just a sweetie. And Caddy Harron's kid is just bullying her constantly. Yeah. Nice role reversal there. Yeah. Jeff, if you listen to the podcast, we know you've been a fan for years. You were right there when we started.
Jeff, we really need to have a talk.
So come at us. We'll do it. I will stop being mean to Amazon Prime if you just hire us as your writers. That's simple as that.
Look, I think I still have a lot of issues with Amazon that I would need to hash out with Jeff, but we can do that over lunch.
I mean, you know, we would get all that we could from him, and then we would kill him. You know that, right? Like that is what we would do.
We would drag him to the guillotine ourselves.
Yes, that would be our jobs, because we would be inside men. It would be great. Yeah. So let us say one nice thing about Mean Girls 2 before we move on, because we have not said one nice thing.
Again,
it was
like
good
I said,
to see. You go first.
It was cool. I think the initial concept for Joe is this newcomer who's also very jaded about the high school system. I thought that worked. I thought that was a good premise. I just wish they'd rolled with it a little bit more.
That's fair. Yeah. For me, it was just nice to see that the principal came back, that they got
Mr.
the same guy for
Duvall.
the principal. Yeah, Mr. Duvall. It was nice to see him back, even though you could see as well that he was just like, I'm gonna phone this
He
in.
was over it.
But yeah, that was nice to see as well. So I appreciate that. Yeah. Scene that could have saved it?
I think we've discussed that enough.
Yeah, I think we have to. I mean, we wrote a whole new movie
Yeah.
for this. That's how much we would. Would you watch it again?
Oh my God, no. This movie felt so long. And then I realized it
So
wasn't
long.
even like that long. It just felt it.
Yeah, it dragged so hard. It was awful to get to the end. Every time I thought it was winding up, it just kept going.
Oh my
It
God,
was
that
insane.
football game.
The football
Is there
game. I
anything
mean,
more fucking stupid that you've ever heard of in your goddamn life? It was so unnecessary.
so unnecessary. Like,
so
why would it
dumb.
be settled by a football game?
And it added like a whole 10 minutes to the movie, and I hated every single one of them.
Yeah, no, it wasn't funny. It wasn't enjoyable. It wasn't entertaining.
It didn't even make sense. Nobody
No,
there
it was
played football.
no, it was gross. It was a horrible scene. No, unacceptable. But yeah, I agree. I would not watch this again. I wouldn't recommend anyone watch this film.
No,
Just
guys.
let it sink into the sea like the
Into
Titanic, y'all.
obscurity. Yeah. Let it go the way of American Psycho 2.
Yes. Yes. Shall we let us never remember this? And when our kids come to us and they, after watching Mean Girls 1 and say, is there more? We say, nay, nay, there is no more.
There's a Broadway musical.
Really?
Yeah, there's a Mean Girls Broadway musical. Tina Fey wrote it.
Oh, okay. Well, it'll be good then. At least that will be good.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's been out. I think it was on Broadway. It's been on Broadway for a couple of years. I'm still looking for a worthwhile or a decent recording of it online so I can watch it. But it's gotten very good reviews.
Ah, lovely. Okay. Well, I shall keep an eye out as well because that sounds really nice. And if any of our listeners somehow have a hashtag bootleg copy, please do send it to us. We always appreciate that. So Simone, we did it again. Somehow we're starting out a new year. We're trudging ahead into the third year of this podcast. How exciting.
Oh,
look at
goodness.
us go. Yes, I'm so very excited for where this year is going to take us or whatever. I'm not jinxing it. It's going to be fine. Everything's
this
fine.
This is going to be a year and we're going to do it.
Yes, 2021 is a thing. It will happen. Yes.
And we're in it.
Yes. So what is your optimistic thing for this week, Simone?
Oh, you know what? I was thinking this week. So I watched Host, first of all, which I told you about before we started recording, and I loved it. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. Like, I was shaking. I got such a fright at one point. It was really
amazing.
Good. And just like, on top of that, I think I mentioned on the Robots Radio Discord, or our little Discord chat room, that some of the creature design in Lovecraft Country had genuinely scared the shit out of me. And I guess, like, in my head, I thought I was really dead inside, so like horror movies didn't affect me anymore.
Yes.
But like, something about this, like, the last couple days, horror has just been touching my soul.
Oh, fantastic.
Just reaching into the deep parts of my brain that get scared. And I'm just really appreciative of that. It's nice that things can still surprise you. People are still putting out incredible content. I wasn't like not going to watch horror anymore because I thought I was dead inside. Like, I still love horror as a genre. I just didn't think it would like keep me up at night.
Scare you. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And it does.
That's
still.
Great.
So it's always nice to like still be surprised by a genre.
Yeah, that's so nice. And I think we both felt that way for the longest time. Like, I find it really difficult to sit down and like commit to a horror movie now because I just know it's not going to scare me as much.
Yeah.
Like, ever since The Conjuring, I really have not been scared.
Yeah.
And it's really nice to hear that there are still things that can scare us out there and we're not just completely devoid of hope. That's so nice. And I mean, from my side, it's very weird to hear to be able to be like, yes, I'm really happy that my friend was frightened.
Oh,
like,
my God, my heart
what
was
a weird
pounding.
thing to say, but I'm so glad that you were
Thanks.
scared. And I'm so excited to watch these things now as well so that I can feel scared again too.
That's what I love about horror movies. I love it when I'm actually scared. I know a lot of people like horror because they don't find it scary or like they like other aspects of the genre. I, much like people who like watching sad movies to feel sad, I like being scared. I like getting fully immersed in a horror thing and letting it scare the shit out of me. Like, that's like that does it for me.
Oh yeah, I'm the same. If I'm not white knuckling by the end of the film, like, it's a failure. Like, I've got to physically be aware of the tension and shake it out of my body. Like,
I want my
that
heart
is
to
what
be
I
pounding.
love.
I want to have to watch a happy thing afterwards to feel better.
Yeah. I'm about that. Okay. I'm so excited. I'm gonna go and watch Host after this and be frightened. I'm so ready. My optimistic thing this week, it's really darling. Okay, remind me if I've said this one from last week, because at this stage of the podcast recording last week, I was blackout drunk, so I have no idea if I said this. Did I mention that my student got his braces taken off?
I feel like you did.
Okay, cool. All right, that's fine.
I
Then.
wasn't
So I'll
far
leave that
behind
one.
you. Please remember.
I mean, well, I've got another one anyway.
Okay.
So our mutual friend and who has been on the podcast before, Dan Watson, Dr. Dan Watson. I had a video chat with him yesterday, and we just shot the shit for like an hour and a half, and it was just so nice. I mean, Dan and I usually just talk by voice notes. Every sort of couple months, we'll just get like a voice note from each other and just send like a good 5-minute catch up on like what's happening in our lives. And we just said like over the Christmas period, we need to have a chat. And actually have like a video chat, and we scheduled the first one for the 23rd of December, and I completely forgot, and so did Dan, because that's just who we are as people. And so like I messaged him that night because I'd been running around all day, and I was like, I believe we were supposed to have a chat today, and he was like, fuck, I forgot too. So we organized it for yesterday, and it was just so nice to talk to him and actually just like have a back and forth with him and catch up and see how he is, see how his family is, see how his girlfriend is, all this kind of stuff. And it was just like I left the call feeling so happy. I just miss him, and it was just really nice to catch up. So yeah.
Also, Dan's officially a doctor now. He got his PhD approved. He graduated, so he's now officially Dr. Watson.
It's so exciting. I'm so proud of him, like for achieving that level of excellence. Like best guy in the world. Couldn't have happened to a better guy.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely love it. Yeah. So yeah, thank you. So that was my thing. It was just catching up with old friends. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
What are we gonna do next week, Simone?
What are we gonna do next week, Chad?
Should we just go fucking balls to the wall? I've got this loaded up. We can do it. Let's just elbows in. Dane Cook week. Fuck it.
Oh my God. Okay.
Go hard. Go sexist. Like that horrible guy. We're just gonna do it. Okay. Yeah. So we have choices. We have Good Luck Chuck with Jessica Alba, 5%. Employee of the Month, 20%, and My Best Friend's Girl, 14%.
Let's do Good Luck Chuck and My Best Friend's Girl.
Sick. Awesome. Okay. Look, Simone, we only have to do it once. Just try and remember that.
Okay. You know, the crazy thing is I used to really like Dane Cook, like back when I was in high school, right?
Who didn't?
Like, yeah, that was like, I mean, that was the humor of the time, right? Like that was the early 2000s humor. And to be fair, I think in all fairness to Dane Cook, which I'm sure we'll talk about next week, his comedic timing was very good, or is very good, I should say.
Yes.
It's really just the content of some of that humor.
Yeah.
And those movies.
He's the human embodiment of a goatee, and and you know what? He had his time, he had his place, and good on him. You know, he banked on a time when it would be acceptable to be Dane Cook, and that's fine. Good enough for him.
Would that we were all lucky enough to be born in the peak time to be us.
I think that's a message that we should bring through to the rest of this brand new year.
Yeah.
Would we be the one?
Make 2021 the peak time to be you.
That's lovely. I think we should end on that message, Simone. So tell us, where can the people reach out to us?
They can talk to us on Facebook or Instagram at Fresh Tomatoes Podcast, on Twitter at Fresh Tomatoes MP. They can email us at freshtomatoespodcast@gmail.com. They can check out our website at the link down below. They can hang out with us on the Robots Radio Discord. And yeah, look at all of our sponsor links down below, guys. You get a discount, we get a kickback, everybody wins. We have Lootcrate, we have NordVPN, we have audiobooks.com, guys.
Come on, you guys. Like, we're entering this new year. Let's all just have fun. Let's just, socialism it up. Let's do it. You do something for me, I do something for you. And with that, as we say at the end of every episode, we love you and there's nothing you can do about it.
We love you and there's nothing you can do about it. Bye.
Goodbye.